All right, looks like we are officially live. Hey, everybody, how you doing? It's your man Jay Will. So today's topic is none other than the essential phone. So we're going to talk about this today. Thank you for joining me. I'm going to send this link out via Twitter and things like that, so I can get this ball rolling. This is interesting. It's very interesting. I'm pretty excited, to say the least. So in this podcast, I got the site pulled up here. I'm just kind of sending this out for Twitter and all these different places. So sorry if it sounds like I'm kind of hesitating and talking, but I'm just trying to get this going here. So hopefully you guys are having a good day. This is this is something that I think the smartphone industry needs. Something that's I would say it looks different, which it actually does. But there's some things about this device that's it's unique in its own. So I encourage you to go over to essential.com. That's the actual website where you can reserve your copy of this phone. Now, the one thing that a lot of people are going to talk about is the price. So I'll just say the price right up front. The price is $699, and I feel like you're getting a great product for $699 based on the current offerings from today and what's going on in the smartphone world. So with that being said, $699 for the phone, and then they also have this modular camera that you can snap on, a 360 camera, that for an additional $50 as an intro price. Now, I'm not a fan of 360 to the point where I'm ready to spend money on a 360 camera, but $750 for the camera and the phone for something that you might use later. It's cool. It's not overly priced. Because 360 cameras now, they're about $200. So I don't know what this modular camera is going to cost after this promo period is over, or after they stop taking reservations. I have no clue. All I know is that the phone is $699, and it's looking pretty good. So we're going to basically talk about the specs and things like that, and just kind of get into it and see exactly what's going to be a differentiating factor for this phone opposed to you buying something else. And there are a lot of things, to be honest, in here that I think make this phone a good purchase for $699. Now, $699 is expensive. Let's not downplay this. This is a expensive device. $700 for a phone is expensive. That's mortgage for some people, or that's a car note for some people. That's just a big college payment or something. That's something for somebody. And so a smartphone is something you're going to invest in that you might want to keep for a while. So, these podcasts and just my whole website, smartphoneconversations.com, it's not just for techies, it's for the average everyday consumer who's looking to get something good, or what they in their mind would consider to be good and is worth purchasing. So with that being said, let's jump in here. The Essentials phone by Andy Rubin. You guys, if you're in the tech world, you knew about this already. You knew it was coming. He kind of leaked it. He was putting it in his pants pocket one day, and they caught a picture of it. Someone snapped a photo of it. So he's been using this phone for a long time, because you got to take it through the rumors. You do the regular, you got to take it through and use it in the testing phase. And him and I'm sure several other engineers have been testing this phone out for a very long time to come. And so finally, the announcement is tonight at I believe it's at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I believe it is. So you can set a reminder, on YouTube to watch it. It's going to be, by eCode. I think it's going to be actually the ones doing it, if I'm not mistaken. Recode. I'm sorry. Recode is going to be the ones, and it's at 6 p.m. Pacific time, I should say. So, you'll be able to get all that you want to know about this device directly from the horse's mouth. So it goes live in 5 hours. So let's get into the specs of this device. It's got a 5.71 inch display, 19 by 10 aspect ratio. So that's different. Again, this 19 by ratio is what we're going. You got the G6, the S8. You've got all these different devices that's just the way it's going to start going. That is what it's going to be. And it's not a good or a bad thing. It's just the direction of the way they push technology. So if you don't like that, you want to stay with 16:9, you know what phones to purchase. But it's called the Essential phone, and it's an edge-to-edge display. And it's, again, 5.71 inches. It is definitely a small phone with a big screen. So it'll be a little bit, it doesn't have a curved screen either. So it's just a hair bit wider. It's not as wide, I'm sorry, as it's wider than the S8, but it's not as wide as the G6. So it's kind of, it's wider. It's wider than those because it's 19:10. Those are 18:9. But it's going to be a good form factor. So the display technology is supposed to be LCD display, and the resolution is one of those weird ones. It's 1312 by 2560. So it's going to be up there. You get dual 13 megapixel cameras on the rear. And you have an 8 megapixel camera on the front. Now, the rear cameras do shoot in 4K, but the great part about this phone is the front camera can do 4K. Now, the aperture on the front camera is 2.2. However, it can do 4K, and that is good. Both cameras can record in 4K at 30 frames per second, and 1080p at 60 frames per second, 720p at 120 frames per second. This thing has dual speakers, one at the top and then one at the bottom. So that is going to be something that's very interesting. I'm really kind of excited about. Now, the 360 camera is a 12 megapixel camera. Let me see here. Make sure here. The back camera uses a combo of 13 megapixel sensors, but it's actually a dual 12 megapixels. For the 360 camera. Yeah. So I'm just kind of reading here on this site here, but it's got a Snapdragon 835, 4 gigs of RAM, 128 gigs onboard storage, no SD card, and it's going to come in 4 colors. You've got stellar gray, ocean depths. That's the one that I'm kind of excited about. It's like a gold and green. So that's going to be something different. Moon black and pure white. So the pure white and the ocean green are the ocean depths, I should say, are the ones that I'm kind of excited for. So again, no SD card slot, but you get 128 gigs onboard storage. So of that, you'll probably get at least 115, coupled with that Snapdragon 835. Now, it's USB Type-C, and it doesn't have a headphone jack, but they do give you a dongle, from what I understand. And the battery is 3,040 milliamps. So just thinking about this, you probably can look online, and there's already a ton of websites writing articles saying how it's going to fail, how it doesn't have this, how it doesn't have that. That is something that you can decide with. Again, that's why I wrote it. I did an article and I did a video and a podcast on what do you require? What do you require of a phone? And my requirements of smartphones now, it's just slowly going down and down and down. And I'm kind of just looking for performance and good battery life and good cameras, good screen, just the basics, but some people have some really high expectations when it comes to smartphones, and that's totally your prerogative to do so. But you can definitely read online about all these websites saying how it's probably not going to do well and all this other stuff. We don't know yet. We have to wait until we actually get the device in hand. That's the best way to measure how good a phone is going to be in your perspective, in your eyes, if it's something that you're going to like. It's really easy to sit back and just criticize. And some people definitely they need to go check the definition of criticism and feedback. Those are completely two different things. And I think there's way too much criticism on new devices before they even hit the market, before they're even here. Some phones just get beat down and hammered into the ground before they even get a chance to stand on their 2 feet. So with this phone, the camera on here the front camera is on the center of the phone. Now, I brought this up in Telegram group, the Smartphone Conversations Telegram group. Having the camera in the center of the phone, some people are going to complain about that, but I think that's probably the best place to have it when you think about it. Having the camera to the side of the phone, if you're trying to do front-facing video, you have to either look up or you have to look down at the camera. So having it right in the center you can kind of level off. Now, it might sound crazy, but having the camera in the center, that's actually what should have been done a long time. Some things are so obvious that nobody ever picks it up. And when someone does it, it seems weird. It's just kind of one of those things. So you've got that that center camera there, on the front. And my thing is, the front camera can do 4K, the rear camera can do 4K. Please don't limit us to 10 minutes. I don't want it to be limited to 10 minutes, 5 minutes. I think there are very few phones out there that can do unlimited. The iPhone can do unlimited until you run out of memory. The G6 can. It's just speaking of current phones, and I'm sure you'll be able to name more that can do unlimited. Boy, I got some people in the chat. Oh, hey, Brad, what's going on? Brad says it looks very cool, but I'm overhyped for the U11. That's right. The U11 is pretty much packing the same internals. It's just, you've got a different, different cameras, and, you've got different memory options, but the U11 has, along with other phones, have a SD card. But you're right, Brad, I'm excited about the U11 as well. But, this Essentials phone has a titanium body on it. So the chassis and frame is titanium. So they actually have a website up, essential.com. You can go to it. You can see the drop test where it just doesn't have a mark on it. They dropped an S7. They dropped an iPhone, I believe it was. Yeah, they dropped an iPhone 7, an S7 or an S7 Edge, one of them. And then they dropped also the Essentials phone, and there's not a mark on the Essentials phone. And that's just totally something they do just to get you to see that, titanium is stronger than aluminum. But there's definitely going to be people doing drop tests. When someone says something is non-breakable, people immediately start doing drop tests to try to destroy it, to prove them wrong, instead of just enjoying their tech. But those are the bare bones for this phone. You get 4 colors, 835 processor, 128 gigs of RAM, great set of cameras more than likely. The titanium chassis and frame, that's just going to be something great to experience. It's going to be a big screen, small body type of deal, a little bit wider than the G6, which could be a good thing because it's 19 by 10. So it's unlocked GSM to all GSM carriers. The bands that they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 11, 12, 13, 17, 20, 21, 25, 26, 28, 29, 30, and 66. And then that's the FDD. The TDD is 39, 30, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. And then you also have the TS SCDMA, which is 34 and 39. So the network bands are just going to be off the charts. It's going to work. And it does have CDMA in here as well. It has CDMA at 0, 1, and 10. So I don't know if this is going to work on Verizon or Sprint or not, but the official phone name is Essential PH-1. So that leads to believe how well this phone does. They'll bring us another model of it. So it's got a ceramic back, folks. Titanium body with a ceramic back, Gorilla Glass 5 on the front. You just cannot. This should be a very sturdy device. It's 7.8 millimeters, weighs 185 grams. It should be really good. I like that the phone can do 4K on the front. That's something to be excited about to me. That's just something I'm excited about, that the phone can do 4K on the front. And that's just going to be, I can't wait to test that out. So you can reserve your copy now. Just go to essential.com and you'll see, you go through all the specs or just go straight. There's got a whole big presentation up there already. So you can go through everything, or you can just go straight to reserve. A lot of people have already reserved theirs. I reserved a white and a black, pending, the ocean color will be available soon or whatever. But I'm going to get out of here. So it's your man Jay Wills, exclusively about the Essential phone. This is the big news right now. So I want you to leave a comment after this podcast is finished, or if you're watching this on YouTube, definitely leave a comment. I'll try to put some links in the YouTube section in the description once this makes it to YouTube. However, it's your man Jay Will. Thanks for joining me on this exclusive podcast for the Essential phone. I think Andy Rubin is on to something. The price is fair, I believe, for today's flagships. And I just think it's probably going to be a hit amongst the techies. The average consumer, probably not so much. So I'll see you in the next podcast. Take care.